Hi guys, welcome to Rootstem, and in this video we're going to be looking at Adepta Sororitas. Apologise, I'm so close to this particular book. There we go, that's better. Right, okay, I'm going to be talking about this particular book. I have waited a very long time for this book to come out, and happy to say I now have it. Yay! Although it is 25 quid and it's half the size of the Codex Space Marine, so I'm a little bit narked. I didn't buy the cards because the cards were £5 more expensive than everyone else's for some reason, and I'm only really going to be, my sister's force is mainly to add to my guard, to add flavour, so I'm not really going to be looking at getting the whole shebang for the sisters, but I am looking forward to this book. So what are we getting in our lovely Adepta Sororitas? I am going to be calling this Sisters of Battle Codex. It's been a long time since I've seen a Sisters of Battle, proper Sisters of Battle Codex. I think the last, I'm not quite sure, I think the last official one might have been 4th, maybe 5th, I don't know. I think something did come out for them, but it wasn't as intense or as detailed as what this particular book is going to be. You get your usual pieces of artwork, although I'll be honest with everyone, if you're watching, there's no mention of who actually put into this particular book. That's something Games Workshop likes to do now, which is a bit of it knocks me a little bit, because they've actually had people from Mornville and Infinite Circuit for their additional playtesting services, but no mention of the creator of the actual novel. So, nice bits of artwork. This is a battle slaying Tau. Probably going to happen quite often. Tau are not very cracking in this particular game. Warriors of Faith, just describing the Sisters of Battle themselves, and we are going to be getting some lovely history. Just a quick description of the Imperial Creed, kind of like the church and everything else, and how the Golden Throne is perceived throughout the universe. Just your standard regular bump, as it were. Now, I've always liked the Age of Apostasy. Yeah, that'll do. I like the idea that the sisters came around not during the Horus Heresy, but many millennia later. I like the story of how the Van Dyer Gregor, I believe. Van Dyer, yeah. I need to read this. When he's brought down, when he's laid low by Sebastian IV, and how the sisters are actually created. I do like the history for these guys. These guys have got more of a modern feel to them. The imagery that you're going to get throughout the book is very religious based, very pious, very I am standing against the universe, and of course this is just breaking down bits about the actual army itself. I do like these little sections, I'll be perfectly honest, because I like how they break the army down. I used to like how they used to show you how a company worked for Space Marines, and how various different regiments and companies for regiments would work for the Imperial Guard. Continuing on with the book, it just basically describes, they've done that's very Forge World. Forge World used to do this in a lot of their Imperial armor books, where they'd have a picture and of course break it down, and I think it's quite cool that they've got the Sister Debbie Harry. Yes, I am referring to the fact that she looks like Debbie Harry from I forgot what the band's called, I'll pop it up underneath, but yeah, there's always mention, I mean, I believe that's the 2nd edition image, and that's actually been put out there. And of course just telling you about the different orders. Well, it says orders, it used to say orders, now it's order. Bloody rose, those are the ones that I like to paint up. You also get a brief description of the Minoris orders. Basically they're just going to be offshoots of the main ones. I don't know if you're going to be getting any books on those though. It would be quite nice if you did, very similar to what you get for the Space Marines, but I doubt it, highly doubt it, because people probably won't buy them. Non-militant orders as well. Just describe the Hospitalia, the non-militant sections, and of course the various different orders around the universe now that there's a giant gap across the middle of it. Just updating your maps there, peeps. And of course you've got your typical Wars of Faith, which is just describing everything that would happen. It even actually describes Wars of Faith before the Sisters really came about, so it's probably just looking more at the Administratum as a whole. I did come across this image. Personally, Workshop, I don't think this is an image that's your caliber. It feels very... I found it on Reddit online type thing. Now I'm skipping past the pages that describe all the different engines and aquaflagellants and the sisters, because essentially we all should really know what we're actually getting into. We do get a lovely Debbie Harry model as well. I need to get hold of one of them. Might be quite difficult now, to be honest. And of course you've just got your showcase of the various different models that are going to be coming out. Some of these are really nice. I hope we do a tutorial showing you how to create this ivory-like bone. I do know a way of doing it, but it never seems to turn out as nice as what they do. Now I've stopped on this particular page because we have pictures of the emulator and the Exorcist. I'll be honest, bloody horrible. I really hate these vehicles. Disgusting. I really like the original Exorcist, and I like the Forge. No, I didn't really like the original Exorcist actually. I'm thinking of the Forge World Exorcist. The Forge World Exorcist for me looked like a military vehicle, and I really like that. I might try and get my hands on some of the older ones rather than actually getting my hands on these, because I really, if I'm honest, I mean that even looks like it's been stripped from an Orc vehicle. It doesn't look like it should be on a front of a Sisters wagon. And of course you've got your army example. Showing you take all the special characters when you're fielding your force, because that's how you win the game. Yeah, I'll not be doing that personally. I don't really like using special characters that much. I much prefer just to take your standard. And then of course we're coming into the meat and potatoes of the Codex. So I have come across quite online a lot of people asking how Acts of Faith were going to work and what the hell miracle dice are. I believe Workshop's put some something out there on their Warhammer community sites and posts just describing them, but I really do actually like how they work. Now miracle dice, you gain a miracle dice at the beginning of each battle round, and you gain one more if the following conditions are met during the phase. So Vengeance, if you destroy a unit and you've got the Act of Faith, majority of units have got the Act of Faith, apart from some of the more what classed as like non-sisters units. You gain a miracle dice. You sacrifice a character was killed with the Act of Faith, you gain a dice. Psychic power was resisted, you gain a dice. And if you roll an unmodified 1 for the morale test taken for a unit with the Act of Faith ability, without performing an Act of Faith to do so, then you also aim to gain a point. Now, Acts of Faith are quite cool, because when you generate a miracle dice, you roll it and keep it to one side. So whatever the result is, you can substitute, before you roll, substitute one of the following. Or as many of the following as you want, really, to be honest. Advance roll, charge roll, denied away, hit roll, wound roll, saving throw, damage roll, and morale test. So you could pretty much, I mean, it does state that you can't use a 1 and then transfer it across. But you could pretty much, if you definitely need to make sure that tank is suffering 6 wounds and you've got a miracle dice with a 6 at the side, you use it. You make sure that it's going to take those 6 wounds if you've been hit by a weapon that causes d6 damage. Which in majority of these forces, your majority of these forces, the sisters, your damage main output is mainly going to be from multi-melters. So normally I'll probably write myself like one of the heavy weapon teams, just so I can try and field the small sisters force, but my sisters army is going to be more of a addition to a guard, or like even sort of like playing when I'm doing some narrative games. Now, as becoming the flavour of these more modern codexes, you are going to get a bonus just for fielding the pure sisters army, and these are called Sacred Rites. So basically you determine which Sacred Rite all active units from your army with the ability have at the start of a battle. Before the first battle round begins, selecting one light or rolling 2d6. There is ways of adding a Sacred Rites, but effectively you can try and really try and bulk up some of your actual army depending on who you're going against. So Hand of the Emperor adds 1 to your advanced rolls and charge rolls, so if you've got the Order of the Bloody Rose like I do, then you might want to take that. That's going to be pretty good for trying to get into combat quicker. Spirit of the Martyr allows you to fire one of the on a 5 book, the model can either shoot or as if it was a shooting phase, or make one attack as if it was the fight phase. That would be quite useful if someone really wipes out a sister's unit and you think, well, I want a bit of revenge. Making sure that you can actually fight her back is quite good. Adding a +3 to the Deny the Witch, because with your Shield of Faith you get a 6-up invulnerable save, and you can ignore, you can stop psychic powers if they're cast within 24 inch. You can only do it on 1d6. So if somebody's casting a very low level smite, you could probably stop that, but anything higher than that, really, you're going to struggle. That would make it very, very hard for people trying to get low-end powers off against you, especially since majority of your units are going to be sisters units, and they're going to be all with the Act of Faith. Divine Guidance, improve your AP by 1 for every 6 that you roll to wound, unmodified 6. I like the fact that there's a lot of unmodified 6s. And then of course the Passion is all attack with a melee weapon, and unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit, and then reroll morale tests. That, to be honest, is a really, really nice bunch of rules. Not too overpowered, and you only get one, unlike the Space Marine one, which everyone's complaining about, and I complain about, because simply, especially the Devastator Doctrine, if you take in things like Imperial Fists, it's just so OP, it's unreal. Getting into the units, you've got your Triumph from St. Catherine, you've got your Celestine, and of course you've got your Canoness. Canoness has got quite a Rod of Office. That's quite useful, where you can add 3 to your Righteous ability. So any units within 9 inches will be able to reroll the ones. There is later on a relic that actually adds 3 to aura abilities, which if you combine it with something else will be quite amazing, but we'll get to that in a moment. Of course, you've got your standard HQs. There's quite a few HQ. Missionary will be quite good. I can see a lot of people using the characters from Blackstone Fortress in these. Especially with mainly some of the zealots that you can possibly get, and some of the preachers. That would be quite. I'd like to see quite a few of those make an appearance. I'll have to get cracking and get them painted up. Now, the Battle Sister Squad is the only troops choice in the entire army. Don't get me wrong, you can have them in squads of 5, so actually getting up to those battalion levels is not going to be that hard, and wielding units in squads of 10, there's not really that much point. Some of these stratagems that I've already read don't really benefit you from actually having additional units, so I would probably field them in squads of 5 if I was honest. Having frag and crack grenades is going to be alright, and of course you've got your standard veteran Imperial Guard layout with a 3-up armour save. You still weapon skills of 4. I do think some of that might need to be changed. I would like to have seen them with a weapon skill of 3, but sisters are sisters, and apparently they're better at shooting than they are punching you in the face. Still getting your Celestine squad. I don't know what the points difference is. You are getting an extra attack with that particular unit, so whether or not it's, and you do get to hit close combat on freeze, maybe that's why I didn't put it into the standard sisters. You're going to get it with this particular unit, but well, points difference, is it going to be worth it? We'll see in a moment when we get to the points, but I'm always doubtful on veteran squads sometimes, because 1 wound veteran units with additional attacks is great, but if they cost a lot more than your usual troops, sometimes it really isn't worth it. And then your Sisters Repenter and your Repenter Superior are broken down into 2 separates. I believe they did that in the chapter approved book as well. And of course you're going to have your Dialogus and Hospitalia. If I'm saying them wrong, I apologise. My grasp of the English language, I am from the north of England, my grasp of the English language sometimes is limited. But in any case, I really do like that model. I just don't like the fact that it's on a massive base. I've already got my own, which I'll probably I'm going to try and rebase some of my original metal figures onto better ones. And then we've got, I can't remember if this personally was actually in the earlier editions or iterations of the Sisters. I've never really come across those before, but they sound like veteran Seraphim squads, and they kind of sound like Seraphim. I did actually use, I've got a text to speak. Try and do that again.
Zephyrim.
Apparently that's how you say it. A Zephyrim squad. Very similar to Seraphim squad, but it's called a Zephyrim squad. Tasty. Your more standard stuff as well, your Arcor Flagellant units with 2 attacks apiece. Ignore wounds on a 6. Damage battle forge and does not contain, so you can only take those if you actually take Minestronian priests. It's kind of the same with some of the other stuff as well, like the Death Cult Assassins, so you're probably going to be finding a lot of the units will have a priest in there, as well as having your normal Canoness. Imagery Fire is probably going to be taken quite a lot. My ladies with banners are probably going to be Imagery Fires, if I'm completely honest. 4 wounds apiece, and they can give quite a few abilities to units that are within 6. Tail of the Warrior +1 strength would be quite good. Rerolling Deny the Witch could be quite good, especially when you're mixing it with certain abilities that you can get for having a Pure Sisters Force. Tail of the Stotic, anything with a -1 is treated as having a penetration characteristic of 0. I can see that being quite useful when somebody decides to activate Tactical Doctrine when you're versing against Space Marines, maybe. And of course you've got your Dominion and your Seraphim Squad. Dominion Squad is one of my favourites. I have a unit that's just nothing but Stormbolters. 4 shots apiece at close range. Can be quite amusing, especially when you stick it in a Rhino and run them right up that field. Seraphim Squad is, if I'm honest, it's hitting on freezing combat, but only 1 attack each. I really don't like that. I know there is +1 attack. Apparently they've all got, should all contain chain swords, I believe. Otherwise that's going to be a really rubbish unit when it comes to shooting. Having a proper read, yeah, they're not going to be very good. I used to like my Seraphims to be able to get in there. I don't have any at the moment, unfortunately. I did sell my metal ones. And then of course you've got your Exorcist, your Mortifiers, which are kind of a new unit. I've not really come across those. These are the ones, I believe, walking beasts with the heavy bolters, the alternative to the penitent engines, the ones that come with the sarcophagus at the front, which I think in a previous video I actually stated that they're pretty much the wrong unit, but they seem quite interesting. They've got a flail to be able to attack in close combat, 4 attacks apiece, buzzblades, hand flamers, heavy bolters. I can see some of those actually being in quite a few units. And then of course they can have a heavy, an assault 3 at the end of that phase, Blaze of Agony. And then oh wow, assault 3 until the end of the phase of heavy flamers in the model. Change it to a pistol type with D6 attacks. Ooh, that'd be quite interesting. Of course your Retributor squad is pretty much your Devastators. And Rites of Fire add 4 inches of range characteristics of heavy flamer models in this unit. Ooh, that might be quite useful. Bobbing out of a Rhino gives you pretty much a 9-inch move, 3-inch for the dismount, and then of course 6-inch up. And then you've got heavy flamers that are going to be range of 12. Wow. Might have to get a couple of squads of Retributors then maybe, and a couple of Rhinos to go with it. And then of course the Exorcist. Now the Exorcist has had a massive upgrade. The Exorcist of course used to be heavy D6, it was very random. Now, depending on which rockets you take, you can have conflagration rockets, strength 5, -2, 1 damage, but 3d6 worth of shooting, and 48-inch range. They are not indirect, so it is something you're going to have to fire directly, but that's pretty tasty. 3d6 worth of shots, especially if you verse like a lighter armoured, maybe Tyranid force or Orcs. You are going to be able to put some serious hurt onto them. And then of course you've got your classic Exorcist missiles. Now the Exorcist missiles has had an upgrade. It's no longer a crack missile, which is what it used to be, a crack missile. I think it was AP2 in the last edition. But yep, strength 8 -3d6 and heavy 3d3, so at least 3 rocket shots per turn with this unit, possibly up to 9. I don't do too bad when it comes to rockets that require d3 shots. That will be quite interesting. I can see Exorcist being on the field quite often, but again, I don't like the model, so I'm going to be looking for some of those lovely Forge World ones online. Skip past the weapons page, don't really need to talk about it. You've got units that have got strength of faith, that's pretty much I think, I can't remember what it was called. Basically, your troop choices have got the ability to be able to take objectives over units. And you've got, of course, Order Convictions, which is going to be your special abilities. Now, breaking them down, the Order of Our Martyred Lady, basically every time you lose models, not just characters, but if in which any units with the conviction was destroyed, this is in addition to the miracle dice gained if you lose any characters. So you pretty much gain an additional you're pretty much gaining an additional miracle dice for units being wiped out. Martyrs, of course. Also, if you've got a unit that's been destroyed as well, you can add 1 to the hit rolls if 1 or more models from the model's unit has been destroyed in this battle. That's where your squad of 10 will probably come in, people having the Blood Martyrs. Static Endurance is basically if you get hit by a weapon, you can ignore the wound on a 6. That's going to be pretty good, especially mixed in with the second ability. Now, the second ability is you ignore weapons with an when resolving an attack made with a weapon with an armor penetration of -1 against a unit with his conviction, that weapon has an armor penetration characteristic of 0. And then if you've got an imagifier with the Tales of Stockit ability, that becomes -2. That is probably one of the best ones, if I'm honest. That would really, really make the sisters incredibly hard to shift. They would be nigh on, I mean, yeah, especially if you've got some imagifiers knocking up and down, making units within 6, anything that's -2, you just ignore and stick them in some terrain. You're not moving them. That, ooh, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Of course, mine, Order of the Bloody Rose, quick to anger, +1 to the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons, and I also get an extra 1 attack if I was charged, or performed heroic intervention, a bit like Space Marines. I like it. I don't know if I'm going to be changing myself to Valious Heart though, because that is amazing. Daughters of the Emperor for the Ebon Chalice. Basically, they can ignore mortal wounds on a 5-up, and when you perform an act of faith, you can discard 1 miracle dice, and 1 miracle dice you use in the act of faith are considered to be a 6. That's not bad. Roll 1d6 and 5. Yeah. First discard 1 miracle dice. So you basically can discard 2 to guarantee a 6. So if you roll 2 1s, that's not bad. You can actually get rid of 1, but again, still not as good as Valious Heart. Agent Shroud can advance and still fire your weapons as if it's moved without advancing. That'd be alright if you've actually got a lot of ladies with flamers. Yeah, get them out of a tank, run them up 6, advance, heavy flamer them. Yeah, ooh, that would be really good for those Retributor squads. And Sacred Rose, of course, is when taking a morale test, no more than 1 model may flee. After you perform an act of faith, you can roll 1d6 and a 5, plus you gain 1 miracle dice. And in addition, when resolving an Overwatch, it's causing a 5 or 6. So you get about 3 for the Sacred Rose there. The Devout Serenity, but yeah, a couple of them are alright. I'm not really bothered about the Daughters of the Emperor, if I'm completely honest, and I'm not bothered about the one that I've already got my ladies painted up to, which is the Bloody Rose. I need to repaint my ladies because I'll be getting some new ones, and I can't remember how I painted them. So I might be, I might be changing. You never know. And of course, you've got your stratagems. I'm not going to go through them all, but there is some that are quite tasty. Battle Rites is one where you can you basically gain a second Sacred Rites ability. You roll a d6 and randomly generate a new one. Reroll the result to the same as the one that you've already got. The selected rite is no longer active, and the new rite is now active. So you can pretty much do that every turn. Start of the battle round, if your Warlord has a Sacred Rites ability. That would be quite interesting, just to try and keep, if you're coming across various different armies, just to try and keep them guessing on what, and keep you guessing as well, since it's a roll of d6, on what abilities you're going to have in future. Holy Rage is also a nice one. You're allowed to still charge even if you advanced. That maybe mixed in with the Bloody Rose and the Deeds Not Words would actually come in quite handy. You can also have Suffer the Witch, which at the start of the shooting phase you can resolve. When resolving an attack, you can against a Psyker unit, you can reroll the wound. That's going to be pretty good if you verse somebody that's fielding lots and lots of Psykers, such as Thousand Suns or even Eldar armies. Test of Faith is quite nice as well for 1 command point. Basically, if you gain a command point due to Purity or Valor, gain a Miracle Dice, due to Purity or Valor, you can then spend a command point and you're allowed to gain an additional D3 Miracle Dice on top of the one that you've already generated for that. Storm of Retribution is actually a really good one as well. Adding 1 to the hit rolls for heavy bolters. If you're using flamers, you can re-roll the wound roll, and you can add 12 inch to the range of multi-melters. It is 2 points to be able to do that, so you've got to pretty much make sure that the actual squad itself is going to be mixed with all of them. And last Rites is a really good power. You select 1 medic hospitalia model from your unit until the end of the phase. When a morale test is taken for a friendly Adepta Sororitas unit within 6, do not add the number of models from the unit that has been destroyed that turn. With them having a basic leadership of 7 or 8, and you just you're pretty much ignoring casualties, that effectively means that if you're within 6 of a hospitalia and you've got a couple of units that suffer casualties, you are making them fearless, because you can't get more than a 7, which is their basic leadership, on a d6. I did forget to mention the Holy Trinity stratagem, which I believe was shown on the community page. They've basically got, if you're hitting something with a bolt weapon, a flame weapon and a melter weapon, all at the same target, you get +1 to your wound roll for the whole unit. So even the rest of the bolt weapons, if you're within 12 or within 8, and you've got a flame and a melter gun and a 10-man squad of sisters, that's going to be really powerful. That's going to be able to cook and clean quite a few units out, especially that +1 to wound. Versus toughness 3 units with your bolters, you're going to be striking hard. And it's also nice to see Blessed Bolts is still in there. My unit of 4 Dominion squad with 4 Storm Bolters. 1 command point allows me to have everyone have a -2 and a damage characteristic of 2. That's fun when you do that. And the final sort of pages have got your Warlord Traits on. There's no Psychic powers because of course you don't have any Psykers in a Adepta Sororitas army, but of course that can always be fixed by taking some Inquisitors. They're pretty much similar to what you got from the previous Chapter Approved edition. I actually think that it was Chapter Approved 2018 which had the sisters, which I cannot believe it was that long ago. My life is slowly but surely ebbing away from me. They're pretty much the same. Beacon of Faith, add additional miracle dice. You've got Indomitable Belief, which improves the Shield of Faith ability by 1 for units that are within 6. That's always nice. It means we've got a 5 up invulnerable save. And of course you've got Righteous Rage, allowing you to reroll. You can reroll any of the charge dice for your Warlord, and if you can also do it. You can also get when resolving attacks made by a melee weapon, you can reroll the wound dice, but not the hit dice. A lot of these sisters tend to hit on 3s, which is a bit of a shame. And then you've got sort of specific ones as well, like Impervious to Pain. Blazing Fire, add 1 to the attack characteristics of the Warlord on the turn in which to charge, so that could be quite handy if you've managed to get yourself a good relic weapon wailing on a particular unit, being able to cut it down. And of course you can perform an act of faith for this Warlord, gain 1 miracle dice. So basically if you perform an act of faith which is using the miracle dice, you don't use up a miracle dice. And then you've got your relics. Now your relics, some of these are very similar to what I've seen before. I believe Lanities of Faith, the Book of St. Lucius, they're pretty much the same. I think the Blade of Abomination is also the same as well as the one that we saw in the 2018 Chapter Approved. Wrath of the Emperor for a bolt pistol, I don't think I'm going to see that quite often, even though it's got 4 shots on the range of 18 inch. I still don't think that's going to be something that you're going to see a lot. Having a Mantle of Ophelia to make a Canoness of a 3-up save, unless your Canoness is charging in there and has got a jump pack. That will probably be quite decent, though depending of course upon which order you're going to be taking. I didn't really see much that I thought would actually be really cracking. Some of the ones that are very specific are not that great. Although Benefication, for Order of the Bloody Rose is a special one, where you get an additional 3 attacks with a special chainsaw, which has got a -2 and a 2 damage +1 to your strength. But it does mean that if you're using it on a Canoness, you are going to be basically rolling, I think it's 2s to hit, but then you're still going to need like 4s to wound if you're reversing Space Marines on an average, or 3s to wound anybody else. You will get quite a few attacks with it, so you should be able to cleave through a squad quite easy, but it's that 50-50 chance a lot of the time of being able to actually wound a model. And then of course you've got your points values at the back. Not a lot of points values needed because there's not that many units, and of course your weapons are all contained on one particular page. I haven't checked to see if these are any different from the 2020 chapter approved listings. Can't see them being that much different, to be honest. But your battle sisters are coming in at 9 points each. I don't know if that's a little too expensive. That's 4 or 5 points more expensive than an Imperial Guardsman. I know it's got a 3-up save, but and then your Celestian squad is only a point more. That might actually make it where you do take some of those particular units if they're only a point more, because you are getting that extra weapon skill and that extra attack for 1 point. So having a squad of 10 would be 100 points straight, but I can't remember how many points Marines are costing at the moment. But I do think you can get 5 Primaris Marines for cheaper than that. After checking, an Intercessor unit is coming in at 85 points, so it's actually cheaper having 10 effective wounds of Space Marines than it is having 10 wounds of Sisters. Not sure if I really want to play ball on that one there. Games Workshop, that seems a little unfair personally, especially since some of the benefits for being Space Marines definitely outweighs a lot of the points values for here. But whinging about Space Marines aside, they seem alright. We'll try and get some on the battlefield as soon as we possibly can, and then of course we'll be able to see how they do upon said fields of battle. I don't think they're going to perform that great initially, especially since I've not really got that many. My initial squads are not that much, and I've got that many painting projects ahead of me. If I do buy some, I'm probably not going to be able to paint them up for ages. But at least the Codex is out, and you'll be able to pick this up on Saturday the 18th of January, which by the time I'm recording this will actually be tomorrow, because I've only just managed to get my book today. Well, thanks very much for watching, guys. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button if you do want to see more. If you're interested in commission painting from us, please go over at the moment to our Facebook page, as the website has been taken down at the moment as I'm actually changing it and changing it over. So that's, on Facebook it's at Rootstem Multimedia. Keeps popping up at the bottom around here. But yeah, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.